Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers for a Saturday. Brian Andy Kamenetsky. Lakers lose 117-116 in their final preseason game. What should we look for as the season starts Tuesday? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. This one's always going to be free for you, and you can get that on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, many 36,000 plus subscribing to Locked On Lakers on YouTube, where you can leave us questions, leave us comments, talk amongst yourselves if you choose, and you can talk about the game Friday night. The Lakers finished the preseason schedule, Andy, as they started it by losing. It is a one-win preseason, 1-5. So in that regard, not great, but fortunately, none of those games count. And there were certain things out of Friday's 117-116 loss to the Kings that were good. There were certain things that would probably make Lakers fans a little bit nervous. And then some interesting developments in terms of who started the game in that open spot with LeBron's injury. So where would you like to begin? And, there's good performances, bad performances, strange performances.
I would say beginning first and foremost with what ultimately matters most. And that was Luka Dončić's performance, which was terrific. 31 points in 32 minutes, 8 of 16 from the field, 6 of 11 from behind the arc, got to the line 12 times, made 9 of them, 9 assists against just 3 turnovers. The Lakers actually did a very good job in this game, taking care of the ball after a wretched start. They were really loose. They had 7 turnovers in the first half, a lot of them front loaded in that first half, finished the game with only 9. So they did a much better job as that went along. And particularly in this period without LeBron, but just overall for the season, nobody raises the ceiling and the floor for this team more than Luka. And he's only played in 2 preseason games, but in these 2 preseason games, he's looked really, really good.
Yeah, there just wasn't much to dislike or be concerned about in the slightest with how Luka performed really throughout the games, like you say, he played in the preseason. I think if there's anything you could question or look at or wonder about or anything, it would just be maybe some unnecessary risk taking. There were some times he clearly tried to force the ball in to Deandre Ayton for alley-oops. So there were about 3 or 4 plays where the Lakers as a team were clearly trying to make alley-oops work.
JJ said after the game that, quote, "We got to figure out our lobs." Said that the key to it was better concentration, better control. And to your point also, he said something to the effect of there were a few attempts at some Harlem Globetrotter plays when the simple one was right in front of them.
Sometimes you just got to be the generals and do the boring thing.
Well, be the generals, but actually score.
Right. The generals back like in the olden days, like the Globetrotters used to play like real teams and stuff. So, if you take some of those plays out, which probably don't happen in real games, some of these are, it's the preseason, let's try fun things kind of plays. It's the 6th game of the preseason. Let's try fun things. Luka looked really good. I thought, it was a bad game for Austin Reaves, but, he has had a really good preseason overall, so no concerns there. I actually thought that while, the chemistry is not quite there yet, overall, I really still like what I'm seeing from DeAndre Ayton. And Jackson Hayes played great before leaving the game with a wrist injury. And so, assuming he's fine, Lakers center rotation seems like a potential strong suit this year.
JJ said that the x-rays came back negative for what was described as a right wrist contusion, said that they would learn more or let us know more on Sunday, which I took to mean no practice on Saturday. They're going to practice again on Sunday. But he didn't sound particularly concerned, but obviously you don't know until you take a look at everything. But Jackson had a very good first half, continuing what has been a really good preseason for Jackson. It was also a much better game for Marcus Smart coming off the bench. He had the damn near zero line in his first preseason game over 20 minutes and did not look particularly part of the flow at all. This one was far better. 14 points, 5 of 11 from the field, 2 of 8 from behind the arc, but also 4 steals. Very, very active and disruptive, and just looked like he looked much more comfortable with everything that was going on there, and also just like he had a more defined purpose while he was on the floor.
Well, he certainly had the ball, and it was later in the game, especially as Reaves and Luka sat. Smart had the ball in his hands a lot more. He did sort of more point guard functioning kinds of things, which probably makes some difference. But it was really interesting. We'll get to the starting lineup here in a second, but like, it was interesting to me. I just sort of noticed a speed difference, not just from like his first game to this one, which was obviously kind of night and day. But early in the game, I was, in his first appearances, and he was in within, I want to say 5 minutes.
He was the first sub off the bench,
and they went to that sub pretty quickly. So like, I'm watching it, it's like he's not moving poorly, and defensively, you can tell he's a guy who understands what he's supposed to be doing and when, and more importantly, where. In the right spot, very physically, very strong, hard to move, but not bursting from one spot to the next. And then all of a sudden, like, he kind of cranked it up a little bit. In the second half, you saw him put the ball on the floor a little bit and penetrate and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay, there is some burst. Like, he was moving and had some explosion and some quickness and all that kind of stuff. And results aside, and they were certainly much better, especially as the game went along, I was just encouraged by like literally what he looked like moving around the floor and the activity level, even more than the numbers themselves.
Yeah, he had back-to-back steals on consecutive possessions. He drew at least one charge I can remember off the top of my head, and he just seemed much more engaged in the flow of things and more comfortable. I wouldn't be shocked if some of this is just, given the way he got a late start on his training camp because of that Achilles tendinopathy, if he is still just kind of getting his legs under him, still kind of getting himself into more basketball rhythm and timing and stuff like that, and the more extended minutes that he plays in a game like this and just more extended time on the floor, hopefully he just continues to look better. But this was a much, much more positive, optimistic step in the right direction for Marcus Smart.
Well, it's interesting too. Like, he hasn't played tons of basketball. Like, I know last year it was in the 40s, but over the last couple of years, I'm just looking up his game totals. It's not high. So like, he hasn't played a ton either. So not only do you not get the ramp up, like the normal full preseason ramp up, he's been a little bit in and out. The Lakers obviously taking a very cautious approach with him. So in total, in last year, he played 34 games. The season before that, he played 20. He's played 54 games in the last 2 seasons. So some of this just there's probably some rust there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That goes with it, even if he were, kind of going like in full speed, in full shape. It was interesting to me. I don't think many people figured that 5th spot in this dress rehearsal game, which is what the Lakers were calling it, the 5th starting spot would go to Gabe Vincent, but that is what JJ did. I don't know if that necessarily means that's what it's going to look like on Tuesday, or if this has become sort of a 4 concrete starters and a 5th based on who are we playing tonight, what do the matchups look like. But either way, what did you think of it as sort of a choice and a potential option going forward?
Well, to add a little bit more potential clarification, JJ after the game said that he liked how those guys looked together. The 5 starters, he talked about all 5 of them were positive in the plus minus, that he liked the defensive toughness and the extra ball handler that Gabe Vincent brings. He did acknowledge, though, there could be matchups dictating some of these decisions, and that he has a pretty good idea who he's going to start in game 1, although he did not say this was the group, but that it could be fluid moving forward, whether because of injuries, the way the season evolves, changes his mind, whatever. What I thought of it was I didn't like it for reasons that really did not have a ton to do with Gabe's performance. Gabe played well in this game, like just
he
grading
missed one shot.
Yeah, grading Gabe against, I guess, himself and just expectations and performance. I thought Gabe played well, and he's had a really good preseason, and I understand why, if nothing else, JJ would take a look at it because, again, it's been a good preseason for Gabe, and JJ has made it clear he's a big fan of Gabe Vincent, like as a player, as a pro, as a prototype. What I don't like about it is, and I've talked about this before with Gabe, size-wise, I think it sets up the Lakers for a lot of defensive issues and targeting. Some of them could get cut down on if the Lakers do less automatic switching than they did last year. And for what it's worth in the preseason, I think they have done less of it. So we'll see. I just think Gabe can get too easily targeted. And we saw it last year, and it won't be for a lack of effort. And, he does pretty well for his size, but I just think the size is going to be an issue.
It was when I initially, I think I was just sort of so surprised. I was like, I don't know. I don't really know if I like this, but then having time to kind of think it through over the course of the game, at least on paper, I get it. Like, I don't know if I love it, but I definitely get it. And, what you're trying to do, I think, is get a little bit of a lot of stuff. With Gabe, you keep some defensive integrity because, while he can be targeted, he's certainly on this team, especially a plus defender relative to his roster mates.
The defense, to put it generously, remains a work in progress, and I have concerns.
So does JJ Redick.
Yes, he does.
I think JJ joins you in that, but so again, relatively speaking, Gabe is a stronger defender. Is he as strong as Vanderbilt? No, but he's stronger than potentially other options. He provides you some floor spacing, definitely more than Vando. You get some of the secondary ball movement and things like that. So it's like you're getting little pieces of a lot of stuff. And I think it's while, technically then the Lakers are playing a 3-guard starting lineup. Luka doesn't guard guards. He is a forward and defensively.
And he's
it's actually
he's just big, period.
Right. It's a conventional lineup in that way. Because even Reaves as a 2, it's not like Reaves is a little 2-guard, like height-wise. He's not 6'2". So it's a relatively conventional lineup where I think they're trying to get just a little bit of a lot of stuff. Whereas if you started Vando, who both of us thought would get that starting slot tonight, you get some of that defensive intensity, but you lose a lot of things. And this was not Vanderbilt's best game of the preseason, I didn't think. But Marcus Smart, I wonder if eventually that's where you go with this before LeBron comes back. And if they're just not quite ready to put him in that situation. Because Smart, other than the outside shooting, gives you a lot of, everything that Vincent's going to do, but more defense. So you're basically trading spacing for defense.
Again, I don't love the decision, but I'm going to look to remain open-minded. And just, again, so it is clear, it's less about anything Gabe is doing wrong. And he really has played well in this preseason. I don't like it in terms of potential matchup issues and things like that, but Gabe has played really well, and that should be acknowledged.
My first instinct was I don't like it. After thinking about it a little bit more, I didn't dislike it as much as I thought. And I'm at least warming up to the concept of what, at least the logic behind why you might want to do it. Any other sort of surprises or things that stuck out for you in this game before we wrap?
I like the way DeAndre Ayton was looking to challenge shots. I think he really is looking to be a disruptive force in the lane and doing his best to at least. I mean, right now he needs more help forming a shell and stuff like that. But I like what he's attempting to do. Thought Luka did a really good job. Sacramento was picking him up and doubling very, very high. And he did a good job getting rid of the ball and putting it in spaces where the Lakers could keep moving it around. Like you said, this was not a particularly good game for Austin Reaves, but it's been a very strong preseason for him. So I wouldn't read too much into it. They've got a lot to figure out defensively. Like, this was a game, and we didn't make this clear from the jump. Most of Sacramento's main players were not playing in this game. It was basically Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, Keon Ellis, who's not a scorer, and a bunch of guys that probably a lot of you have not heard of, because frankly, I'm not super familiar with a lot of them.
Yeah, as a dress rehearsal, it wasn't great.
No, I mean, even with the Lakers projecting to be, you hope to be average or slightly above average defensively. That's sort of the optimistic-ish hope. This was a group that they should have had a much easier time making them work harder for their buckets. Sacramento shot almost 55% from the field, almost 45% from behind the arc, and got to the line 28 times.
And it was not a good defensive performance.
No,
so
not at all.
Yeah. All right, we will be back. The Lakers are likely going to take it easy on Saturday, get some treatment, guys will get some light workouts in and all that kind of stuff, but there won't be media Sunday. Back on the practice floor in preparation for Tuesday's opener. Of course, bring you all the news as the season opener gets closer. But before that, Andy, we need to tell people about this.
The Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Wayfair. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting. And getting your home ready for guests and celebrations, though, that can feel like a lot. Maybe the serveware needs a refresh, or the guest room needs new bedding. Wayfair has everything you need to get your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees, wreaths, bedding, cookware, outdoor inflatables. It's the one-shop stop for every room in the house and everything outside of the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. And with free, easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of those huge, jacked up delivery fees. The delivery, again, fast and free, and that is a big-time load off your mind at that time of year. One less thing to stress about while you're getting the house ready. You can actually enjoy the gussing up and thinking about friends and family and all that stuff without stressing. So get organized, refreshed, and ready.
Nobody wants their gussying to be stressful, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gussing is supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun,
not anxiety ridden.
Right. I mean,
get ready, refreshed, and organized for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is here. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That is a significant return. FanDuel is great just in the sense of it gives you a lot of ways to play. You can build parlays, player props, live lines during games if you really want to kind of just be multitasking, doing a lot of things while you're watching the game. So whether you're a casual fan, you love diving into stats, whatever it might be, FanDuel makes the game day experience that much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, we'll see everyone on Monday.